Hello, possums. 1st of July here in Australia, coming to you from the future. Now, it's going to be a short video today because everyone's totally preoccupied with the big evil bill inching its way through the system in the dead of night, as they tend to do these days. So the vote was 51 to 49. This was the preliminary vote. It's an agonizing process, isn't it? It's ugh. Um, so that comes down to, in my book, call me a malicious witch, but Lisa Murkowski and Susan What's-her-face from Maine, the two votes that made a difference. Mm. And that bears out my point that I bring out in life, which is there's nothing worse than right-wing women. And the thing with both these women is if you saw them in a supermarket or at a school event or something, they look normal. They'd pass as humans, probably good to have a conversation with or something. You wouldn't know just looking at them that they always do this dance of pretending to be worried by things in these bills. I would say they're probably two of the only people who read these bills. I think they do read them. And then they go through the agony aunt thing and then always side with the really bullying, cruel, grotesque party that they choose to represent. They always go there. So, just so you know, I'm an equal opportunity snark. I just had to say that. Now, bit of good news. Ken Cheeseborough, remember him? A Yeti lawyer has just lost his law license in New York. Unfortunately, like many things in the American legal system, that doesn't stop him practicing in other states. So he'll go off somewhere else. But symbolically, it's not a good look to lose your law license. So let's keep our little digits crossed because Alina Habba is in the crosshairs of the legal system. So basically, she is just on this medieval mission of revenge. And a few people have noticed. So let's hope we have some news on that in the next few weeks. But, okay, the other news, the muskrat is back. It was amusing for a day or two. It was great seeing him get stuck into the Yeti, and you have to love it when that happens. However, he's back, he's meddling, and he's threatening a third party run. Now, don't write and tell me he can't run because he wasn't born in America. Sorry, the legal system, birthright citizenship was a guaranteed thing last week, the week before, not anymore. So the muskrat could be making a run. Now, superficially, I'm not worried because everyone hates him, but these things change. So let's have a look. I'll use actually the Deviant Moon cards for Elon. Do we have to be worried about Elon, or can we just sit back and enjoy the power play? Should we be worried about the muskrat? Okay, let's have a look here. King of Swords is your perfect. Well, yes. I hope you get a giggle out of these cards in this context. King of Swords, there he is. I'm the richest guy in the world. Of course I've got power. Oops, I ran into a door. He's actually got a black eye. How weird is that? Right? So this is megalomaniac Elon. There's the other Elon that I suspect is a hurt, wounded little individual and not coping with life generally. But this is him when he's in his megalomania. Talking about doing the dance, this is him enticing people in. The thought of Elon doing a lap dance, I'm sorry to leave you with that visual, but there we go. In reality, it's just a Punch and Judy show. This is him and the Yeti. Boom, boom. I can knock you down. I can come back and knock you down. I can knock you down 3 times. They're children. They are children and not very well brought up children. Knight of Cups, the false knight. He'll say whatever he wants to say to entice people in. So let me sum it up by saying this. I think he will make a run because it's personal now. His ultimate revenge would be to create a party to take votes away because he hates the GOP. Watch this space. It's a long time till that would happen. I mean, 2 weeks is a long time these days, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying definitely look out 2028 or here he comes. We're talking about his fantasies of self, right? What he'd like to do. But the part that matters to me is the Punch and Judy show. He can do the Yeti a lot of harm, possibly more than most people. Okay. Now, 90 deals in 90 days. Well, we've got a post-it that you could put on your refrigerator saying, get back to the UK and talk trade. That's all it is. You know, it's a 500-word thought bubble. Okay. They're pretending they're talking to China. Don't appear to be. India's furious. Japan's furious. The EU are totally over it. Most of the African countries ally themselves with the BRICS, so they are more engaged with China. So they're not listening. Latin America has always hated los Estados Unidos, so for a whole host of historical reasons. Talk about regime change. Not enough time on this video to go there. So what's happened is US first is US in complete isolation. And in a globalized world, that's not the most comfy place to be. So let's just look. Obviously, Trump the bully, 4th of July, I want this through. I'm not going to read on it. I'm assuming they're going to push it through because they're gutless wonders, as we say in Australia. Gutless wonders. You're free to adopt that term. So it'll go through, but what I'm looking at now from a trade point of view, where does this leave the administration? I digress. Canada. Elbows up Canada. So most of you guys who do follow the real news will be aware that Canada has introduced a tax on digital services that it passed in legislation in 2020. That's how long these real things take in real time, not 5 minutes. 3% on all the big, Meta, Google, whatever. I think it's very modest, and I wish Australia would do it. Apparently, the EU is in the process, either they've started it or they're just about to start it, because these companies don't pay tax anywhere. I think it should be 10%, and I really hope Australia follows the pattern of the money they earn in another country, just like I have to pay the money I earn in YouTube revenue. Hello, my $10.50, I have to pay tax. and yet they don't. Which brings us to a bigger mystery. I'll try and remember it after I look at trade. Okay, trade. Why is that? Oh, they're all upside down. Oh dear. Oh, look. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is Trump and trade, not even America and trade, because that's implied. But where his big chest beating trade talk is going, nowhere. In fact, I think he's going to lose ground, lose voters, lose traction. Really, not good. Not good. And he accuses everyone else, like he's now hostile at Canada for the 3%, but it was all right for him to talk 50 and then 25 and back to 50. And he doesn't see that his own behavior does this stuff. He doesn't get it. Look at these cards. The ruthlessness of this person, i.e., Trump, means everyone else is walking away. And this is going to wound him. It's almost because, look at it this way, the bill will probably fall over the line, but it won't actually impact for a while because these colossal things take time to filter down to the system, and the true inhumanity of what this means won't be evident for a few months or even a few years. But this raises the question, intrepid viewers, why is it still? I mean, I'm not really asking, I could give you a sociological answer, but you haven't got 6 hours. But this thing, I was watching those wonderful women on I've Had It. It's a great title. It's a great podcast. Love them. If they watch here, I'd love to go on that show. Okay, but they were saying rural America, they're both from Oklahoma. But in rural America, Walmart is a big employer. So what's happening anyway, before all this drama, Walmart notoriously paid bad wages. So Walmart workers earned so little, they were still entitled to Medicaid and SNAP. Now, in a decent society, the government would have got in there 30 or 40 years ago and said, I'm sorry, we're a first world country, you have to pay your workers a living wage. But that didn't happen through probably 6 presidents. Let's not dress it up. That includes Clinton and Obama. They tried and tinkered around the edges, but they didn't tackle the core of capitalist thing, which is, I've got a T-shirt. Record profits are unpaid wages. And that's what they are. They could still make huge profits if they paid everyone differently and better. Anyway, so what the women were saying on that is now, of course, these people are going to lose their Medicaid, they're going to lose their SNAP. And as bricks and mortar shops are closing, like Walmart, they're badly paid jobs. And while prices are going up. Okay, so that's stagflation. Remember, you heard it here first. Months ago, I talked about stagflation and no economists were mentioning it. And that's exactly where it's going. So the point is, after all that, those people will still go and vote for the richest family in America, the wealth. They're not individually, but as a family, the wealthiest family. They will keep doing that. You know, ugh. All right, so let's have a quick look here. Oh, of course, how can we move on without talking about the fatwa that has been put on the Yeti? So Iran, a fundamentalist regime, and you know how I feel about fundamentalists, have issued a fatwa, which is not good news if you're the recipient of a fatwa. which is a religious obligation virtually to unalive somebody. Now, I'm appalled by the concept of fatwas. Remember Salman Rushdie wrote a book that they didn't like in India and then, then was stabbed in the eye and not pretty. I'm not supporting fatwas, but nonetheless, interesting. I hope it doesn't get acted upon. I sincerely hope that because it would just lead MAGA into hating every Muslim and it would set back the Palestinian cause a million miles and it would not be good. But we have to be aware that there is a fatwa out on the Yeti. Now, of course they're upset. They were told to completely surrender and then I'm not going to go there. Now, Newsom. And then I've got to go. Sorry, I'm in between classes and got something on. So I'm just going to do some cards on Gavin Newsom. I really think he's the Dems' best hope going forward. Let me know what you think. I know not all of you will agree, and that's fine. That's why we have this community. But I think he's got the best chance of pulling the Dems out of the fire next time round. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Gavin Newsom. Ooh. Oh, sorry. Awesome. Look, oh, I hate that. He doesn't get good cards. At least you know I don't just pretend the cards reinforce everything I think or feel or would like to happen. This is a classic case of dud cards. Now, things can change because we're talking the other side of midterms and everything else. So, but at the moment, with this Five of Cups, this I think is the Democratic Party and their loss of the last election. I think we can now confidently say that was snatched away through nefarious dealings. I think it's not a woo-woo thing to say. That loss was shocking. It was shattering. They need to rebuild. They need a solid foundation now for going forward. They need to move symbolically to smoother waters. This is all about democratic leadership now. And I think it was Joy Reid, who was she talking to? Malcolm Nance, saying, don't know that the Dems have powerful enough leadership to counter fascism. They're too soft and middle of the road. The leaders I'm talking. There are other Dems who are capable of it. Bless Jasmine Crockett, Stacey Abrams, AOC, bring David Hogg back, Swalwell. They've got huge talent. Okay, so back to this. They're drifting at the moment. They feel they can't change things. Now I'm feeling better about this reading. I don't think it's about Gavin Newsom getting uh, the votes necessary. This is about the Democratic Party, right? They feel trapped and they feel, oh, the best way is to do things like we've always done it, make everyone feel it's all right. No. So I'm going to claim that position. And next time I'll do one more specifically on his chances. But these cards are not good for the Dems. To me, they're saying they're not getting it. They are not getting it yet. Yet. All right, darlings, I do love you. And I'll come back soon when I'm not in a rush. But I just had to connect with you guys. Okay? Ciao, ciao.